The Supreme Court is making some wild decisions. I won't go into this, but the recent one where they said the Ninth Circuit, undid the Ninth Circuit decision about the free speech and be able to talk about immigration and options that they have. And one justice's idea that the overbreadth doctrine for First Amendment is maybe should be done away with. It's kind of shocking seeing that this kind of stuff coming. It's kind of law school con law kind of stuff coming back, but I was really surprised to hear this kind of stuff. But it's very disappointing. We'll see what happens. Sometimes in the darkest night, that's when the sun comes out.
Well, I think that when the courts become very bad, that's when the need for Congress to act is greater. It's when the need for people to mobilize politically around the issues becomes more important. So there is some balance there. But in the meantime, there are going to be a lot of very tragic stories coming out as a result of this decision. But just picking up on that case you were referring to, United States versus Sinning-Smith, the Supreme Court, was outraged that the Ninth Circuit had reached out and decided an issue that was not in front of it, and it said, "Well, that was a terrible thing to do." And what was odd in that opinion is that nobody had argued that in front of the Supreme Court, so they just reached out themselves to do what they did. But if you look at the Barton case, the entire logic of the Barton case is built around a concept that wasn't in the legislative history, it wasn't in the briefs, it wasn't in the oral arguments.
Yeah.
And so they created a justification. They interpreted the law in a very, very harsh way that I think was a disingenuous reading of the statute, and then justified it with a policy idea that was not anywhere in the legislative history. It was just the policy of the Supreme Court, which is exactly what the conservative wing of the court is supposed to be opposed to.
Exactly. It really delegitimizes the court by this kind of hypocrisy, and their whole history is them of just picking up arguments that weren't in the original briefs. You see this all the time. So just when I woke up in the morning and I got a bulletin that this case was decided negatively, I'm like, oh, this is an easy case. Of course they're going to approve the Ninth Circuit. Then I saw the reasoning. I'm just like, just baffled. Like, this doesn't make sense anymore. It's kind of up is down, down is up. So it's that kind of stuff is just really frustrating as an attorney and really as an American.